All right, so now we're entering into proofs. You guys had a lot of proofs in geometry, and so proofs are just a series of logical statements that are backed by a given, which is a definition, property, postulate, or theorem. And so in the statements we're doing, it's usually set up so that the given is the if part of the statement. So kind of like our hypothesis. And so like the conditionals we did last time, it's like, if this is true, then prove this happens. And so this is the then part, or the conclusion. We're just giving the reasons why it works. So this is, again, some more vocab that you just are going to have to know. A lot of them are kind of common sense, some of them aren't. So first one is reflexive. When you see your reflection in the mirror, what do you see yourself? What do you see? So that's all it is, everything equal to yourself. So if you have AB, then AB equals AB. Seems common sense, right? Do you guys know the word symmetry? Same. And it's kind of like, it's the same on both sides. So like if I had a heart that was drawn perfectly, which this one won't be, but we'll pretend. It's the same on both sides, right? If I fold the paper and have to cut it, but the sides are flipped over, right? This looks like the exact opposite of this. So symmetry is when things are switched. So you just have to remember that reflexive is exactly the same. Symmetry is when things are switched. So that would be if I have AB. If I have AB equals CD, then CD equals AB. Okay, so it's that we're able to switch it over. All right, who knows, does anyone know the word transitive? But do you know the word, so if you can link transitive in your mind to just transfer, and remember our entire side will be replaced. So if I have AB plus C equals D, and D equals EF. Then I can take my whole EF and plug it in for D, because they both equal D. So then AB plus C equals EF. Don't you love geometry?
Oh, yeah.
All right, but let me fix that.
Can you explain it one more time, please?
Okay, so what happens is when I have transitive, I'm taking one whole side of this statement and one whole side of this statement and transferring them into the same statement, because I can put this into the place of D. Okay. Transitive and substitution both work when you have two givens. So I have this, and that's how I can transfer it in. Substitution, what happens when you have a substitute teacher? I'm not here, and someone is replacing me. Okay, so this is when we replace one with the other, but the difference between these two is transitive is we're transferring it into a new equation, replacing the entire side. In substitution, we're just replacing one little thing. So when I'm gone, I'm not here, but your whole class is here, and so substitute's just replacing me. So if you have A plus B equals C, and B equals 3, then A plus 3 equals C. So a couple things to remember with those two things is reflexive is when it's exactly the same, symmetric is when it's switched, because those two are kind of similar, it's just one's switched, one's exactly the same. Transitive is the entire side, substitution is one part of the side. All right, and then these next ones are just our basic math ones. So distribution is if I have 3x plus 5 equals 15, then 3x plus 15 equals 15. POE stands for property of equality. If you want to know that, you'll see it a lot. And so all of these are saying addition. We just have to do the same thing to both sides of the equation to make it work. So if I have a minus 5 equals 10, then a equals 15. I added 5 to both sides of the equation. If I have a plus 10 equals 20, then what does a equal? A equals 10. I subtracted 10 from both sides.
5 equals 10.
So if a plus 10 equals 20 and I subtract 10 from both sides, then a equals 10. Did I do it wrong?
No.
No, it's just because.
Yeah. Okay, so that is the thing, is I'm labeling what I do to solve it. So if my equation's addition, I have to subtract to solve it, right? Because I do the opposite. So I would, if I want to draw out my steps, like here, it's a minus 5, so I plus 5 to both sides. Okay, so I'm labeling that step. Here I had minus 10 from both sides. Can you guys even see what I'm writing? That is not the right color thing. So on these ones, I'm labeling just the math that's going to happen. Was there a foul?
No, it's just...
Okay. Multiply. If I have x divided by 2 equals 7, what does x equal? Yeah, x equals 14. So remember, this is just divided by, we just do the opposite. Multiply that by 2 to cancel out, multiply that by 2. And then division. If 5x equals 20, what does x equal? Then x equals 4. And then sometimes we just simplify. So if I have 2x plus 5x equals 3 plus 7, then 7x equals 10. So we're just adding the words to the math you already do. So your new words are those top 4. These ones are all ones you know. It's just making sure you can put the words into them. So when you have that, flip to the next page. All right, so this is what our 2-column proofs look like. Is we have our statements and then the reasons for it. So this first one, they ask us to go ahead and label, what is my given here?
7 equals A and 7 equals B.
And then what am I asked to prove? A equals B. And so I'm going to go ahead and fill in. My givens always goes first, so 7 equals A, that's a given. Because I have a second given, I'm going to write 7 equals B. Whatever they ask me to prove will always go last, so A equals B. What is the reason for that?
Because both of them are set up.
But of the vocab words, what is our reason?
Equal with no.
Symmetric.
Symmetric's when we just take one thing and flip it over.
Substitution.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Symmetric.
She just says symmetric wrong.
No.
Reflective.
So I took this whole side and this whole side and put them together. What's that one called?
Combine.
Wait, what'd you say? What's it called? When we take this whole side and transfer them into one equation. Transitive. Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So that is one of the ones, you guys. For some reason, that's one of the hard ones for people to see. So remember, if it's a whole side and we're transferring them together, you want transitive. That's the word you want. All right. The next one's a little easier. If I have AB, that's my given. AB equals AB. What's my reason for that?
What's the first one?
Yeah, reflexive. All right, next one, our given, it asks us to label again. So x over 4 equals 12. We're asked to prove that x equals 48. What property is that?
Wait a second.
Yeah, multiplication.
Yes. Oh. X equals 4.
And I don't care if you abbreviate these things as long as you understand what they are. Substitution and subtraction can't be abbreviated because they would both abbreviate the same way. But everything else, if you abbreviate, that's fine. So when you have that, go ahead and flip over.
Wait.
All right, this page, we're going to take like 5 minutes, see if you can do, let's see how far you can get page 5 and 6 in 5 minutes with your group, okay? Who wants to be my timekeeper? So check your work. If you need more time on some of them, let me know. So this first one was just given, and then we distributed. I think everyone got that as I was walking around. The next two, we had to do the math. So here we have to add 8 to both sides was the first one, and then we divide. The next one was even longer. We distributed. You need that again? So we're just doing the math, solving out the equations that you all are pretty good at, and we're just putting them in this format, adding the words to it. Alright, so the next one is just a little bit longer. We had to distribute first, then we subtracted, then we divide. How many people got example 7? That's pretty good.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, can I?
No.
Not yet.
Wow, this one's even longer.
Yeah. Okay. So this one, we had 2 givens. So anytime you have 2 givens, that fills up 2 blanks, and it lets you know we're going to use either substitution or transitive. And so here, it's the substitution because a equals 3, so we just plug the a in. And then we have the pretty simple equation to solve out. So those of you who got this, did you get it right?
Oh, now.
A few people did. So substitution is one of those things that substitution and transitive, for some reason, seem to be difficult ones for everyone. So just be aware of that so that you don't miss those.
Number 8.
What?
Number 8, you're not sure?
A.
Oh.
Are you sure it's number 8?
What?
we're not quite ready for it.
Well, I have a question. So you can do the same thing twice?
Yes. Yeah, if they give you two, yeah, if you have to repeat the steps sometimes in solving an equation, like we do addition twice, or we do subtraction twice or something, so you just label whatever you do.
Yeah.
Wait.
Alright, so ready?
Yeah, separate them.
Is that 3b plus 6?
There's two variables.
Yes. 3b plus 6.
Give us the first one on example
Just,
8.
just the starting point.
Yeah.
The starting point is
Yeah.
the list your
non-given.
list.
Yeah.
Oh, you're non-given? What do you think you would do?
No.
Transitive.
Yeah, number 8 is like
Yeah, dude.
everywhere. I don't know what
Okay.
number 8.
All right, if you need this one, I'll put it back up in a minute. We're gonna work through number 8 step by step.
You don't even say if or then.
Just have to. I know that.
Okay, so this one we know we're gonna start with our given, right?
Say if.
How much? Good start.
Yes. -2. It's a random number.
Okay, so that was our given. I know at the end I'm trying to get to s equals 10t minus 30. So if this was just a numerical problem and there weren't fractions, there wasn't the t there, if I was trying to get s by itself, what would my first step be?
Subtract.
No.
Divide.
Multiply.
Okay, so I would do two things. If the t wasn't there, I would either multiply by 15 first, because that would cancel out my thing. Or, because I know I want t on this side, I'm trying to solve for s, I would add t to the other side. So we can do those steps in either order. I'm going to go ahead and add first. So I'm going to do the plus 2/3 t. Just so I put it in this format first, because we usually add and subtract before we multiply. It would work either way. But so that gives me 1/15 s equals 2/3 t minus 2. Yeah, and then I'd multiply by 15. So s equals 15, and then I'm going to do the parentheses because there's two terms there, so 2/3 t minus 2. And then I just heard someone say distribute comes next. And so that gives me s equals, when I do 15 times 2 divided by 3, what does it give me?
10.
10. So that gives me the 10t minus what? 30. I think this one actually had an extra box because we don't need the last one. Yeah, we could put reflexive in there, or we could just not use that box. That sounds like extra work to write reflexive. Okay, so your assignment today is on big ideas.